the final portion in the book of Shemot, Exodus. This is the final portion of Exodus. Pekude is Exodus 38, verse 21, all the way up to chapter 40 and verse 38, which again is the final chapter there. The title, Pekude, is the sum. The sum. When we look at this portion, it begins by, it tallies up all of the cost that it took to actually put the tabernacle together. And also we see the actual forming of the tabernacle. It's interesting, the word here, pull up for us that first verse there, Exodus 38:21. If we look there, let's see, in the King James, it says this is the sum. Pull that word up, sum there. Which is Echad. Echad, do we know a man named Echad? That word literally means to attend. It literally means to attend. It's translated as the sum. The word, when we think about the way that it gets to be that, is when we think about the idea of tallying up or finding the sum total of the donations for the tabernacle there, that activity requires some much attention. And that word, Echad, actually means paying attention, right? And so in order to get to the sum total, all of the things, you gotta, there's some things that you have to look at. We want to go all the way to the end. We want to go over to Exodus 40, because we talked a little bit about the first half of the Torah portion at our midweek Torah class. So you were there. If not, you missed it. Oh, no. If you weren't there, it's been recorded, so you can go back and... if we go over to Exodus 40, I want to read, let's read 40, and we're going to focus on the second verse, but just read, the first 4, 5 verses. Hold on. Scroll down a little bit. Scroll down a little bit. Read down to 7.
Exodus 40, verse 1. And Yahweh spake to Moses, saying, on the first day of the first new moon, you are to raise up the dwelling place of the tent of appointment, and shall put in it the ark of the witness, and screen the ark with the veil. And you shall bring in the table and arrange what belongs on it, and bring in the lampstand and light its lamps. And you shall set the slaughter place of gold for the incense before the ark of the witness, and put up the covering of the door to the dwelling place. And you shall set the slaughter place of the ascending offering before the door of the dwelling place of the tent of appointment, and shall set a basin between the tent of appointment and the slaughter place, and shall put water therein. 7.
Yes. Okay, very good. So Here we see again, the tabernacle is put together and they're beginning to do all of the things to get this thing working. The tabernacle, which of course is the place that dwells in the midst of the people, and it is the place where the Most High will dwell in the midst of the people. I want to pay a little bit of attention to the second verse there, because it's interesting if we look here at Exodus chapter 40 and the second verse. This happens, basically the inauguration, the putting together of the final parts of the tabernacle on the first day of the first new moon. It's the first of the month. It's the first of the first month. And so it's interesting when we think about the timing of when this is. It's at the very beginning of the year, the beginning of the calendar year. It's kind of the changing of the seasons. It's connected to, when you think about its significance, it can be connected to the actual creation. Some people talk about Tishri, the seventh month, as being a representation of creation. And that's why they sometimes call it Rosh Hashanah. The beginning, the head of months, even though it's the seventh month. However, if we look over at Genesis, let's go to Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1, something interesting is there, which is related to what we're looking at here, with the tabernacle being erected and essentially created on the first day of the first month. But if we read Genesis, Bereshit 1 and 11, what's that say there?
Genesis 1:11. And Elohim said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the plant that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed in itself on the earth." And it came to be so.
Okay, very good. So when we see over here at creation, the Most High, Elohim, said, "Let the earth bring forth grass." Bring forth. What's that word there, bring forth? What's it in the... bring forth. Bring forth. Go ahead, put that, yeah, that right there. Bring forth. What's that word there? Bring forth grass. Dasha. Hebrews 18:76, Dasha, which is to sprout, which is to bring forth or spring. It's the thing that happens actually in the springtime. It only makes sense for the earth to have been created at the time whenever it's actually bringing forth life. Like it's gonna, when life was brought forth to the earth, it probably looked like it was bringing forth life. Mm-hmm. Things were beginning to, actually it says right there, it brought forth grass. Grass sprouted. Right? And so there's a connection between the tabernacle being created and being finished at the first day of the first new moon and creation. Creation obviously is the creation of all things. But when we think about the creation of the tabernacle, this is part of the creation story of Israel. It's the time when when the Most High comes to dwell with his people. This is the place that he will be dwelling. Right? And so it's interesting that just so happened that they that they put this thing together when the first month of the year, on the first day of the first month of the year, when the year is becoming new, when the world is becoming new, when the relationship with the Most High is becoming new, when this nation as a people is becoming new. Israel as a people is literally being brought forth. They're beginning to sprout as a people. Life is being brought into this dead, dormant people. They're being given the instructions and the commands for life, all at this time. And so it's interesting when we look at this coincidence. This coincidence, I'm saying that obviously with tongue in cheek. I don't understand that euphemism. I don't know why you say tongue in cheek. Isn't your tongue always in your? It's in your cheeks all the time, right? Yeah. But another creation story that happens at the beginning of the year is Yeshua dying. Yeshua dying at Passover in the springtime is another situation that happens at springtime, and it's like unto the creation of the world. It's like unto the creation of this place where the Most High will dwell with his people. Because had it not been for the sacrifice that was made by Yeshua at that time, there wouldn't be a place for his spirit to come and dwell. And so when we think about the fact that at Passover, when that sin sacrifice was made by Messiah, he literally was making a place for the spirit to dwell at that time. And so I thought that it was interesting when we see over here at the end of Exodus, as the people are at the end of putting together the tabernacle, the timing was so apropos. Is that French? Apropos. Sounds French. Apropos. I don't even think I'm saying it right. That's why I said it lower. Okay, so does anybody have any thoughts, questions, comments about any of that, or anything else that is inside of?
So this will be basically at the anniversary of the children of Israel coming out of Egypt.
Ish, right? Because they came out 2 weeks later, right?
Yeah.
But the season,
Yes.
the season, that from an anniversary standpoint, is the season,
Yeah.
right?
Same time of year.
Yeah, yes, yes is the answer. Yes. Okay, very good. There's much more that can be said about this. We have each chapter of the Torah in the library of our channel and webpage. So if you want to see what more I had to say about that, you could go ahead and click the link in the description.